Welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world, the podcast that has officially lasted longer than Donald Trump's post-presidential blog. Fuck yeah. Mask mandates are being lifted all around the country, meaning it will be easier to tell who is on crystal meth just by getting them to smile. Until July 4th, ride-sharing apps Uber and Lyft will offer free rides to passengers who are getting their COVID vaccines. Of course, there will still be a charge for the service of not having a driver who plays music from his band at a loud decibel level during your trip. The Washington Post had a story about how people walking outside could succumb to cicada piss falling on them. This may be the perfect time to start inviting your relatives who still wear their Trump 2020 hats out for a picnic. Cicada piss apparently has the consistency of tree sap, so get ready for a new flavor of syrup coming this fall. On the bright side, at least it's not pumpkin spice. Anthony Bouchard, a GOP challenger to Wyoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney, is said to have impregnated a 14-year-old girl when he was 18. The girl later went on to kill herself in what the candidate described as a Romeo and Juliet story. Anthony, you're still alive, so not quite, bud. John Cena apologized to the People's Republic of China for referring to Taiwan as an independent country while promoting Fast and Furious 9. I think John Cena should apologize to the world for taking part in yet another Fast and Furious movie. And to Americans for his WWE intro music. And now on with the show. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Hysen, Abby Mello, and Gina Brown.
Hey, Tom.
Jeff, Abby, Gina, welcome back. Anything new going on with you guys this week?
I got a haircut. I know that is not something that you can see through the camera, but I do want to talk about it just momentarily. I was wanting to cut it off all pandemic, but I was a little bit worried. I've always had long hair. It was very much a part of my coming of age, and I always sort of linked it to my femininity, and I was worried that I wouldn't feel as attractive or sexy, particularly as I'm getting older. But I've realized now I'm day 2 of this haircut, and there is nothing sexier than not spending 45 minutes curling your hair.
Yeah.
I love how you and I are roughly the same age, and we're both. I was worried that I was maturing way too late, but now that you're having your coming of age moment, I actually feel better about myself. I no longer feel inadequate.
Well, and it also looks like you don't have to curl your hair that much, Tom, either. Like you don't have to take time blow drying it or anything.
It's got a real wash and wear style going there.
Yeah.
I have it dry clean, just like this blazer.
I've worked on a song. I have to really narrow down the lyrics of cicada copulation. And so I've been watching them because that's what they do just all over my deck. They just copulate. And I watch it. And I mean, I'm super impressed that they don't care. They don't need to get a room. They don't care. And you can just see the wings going up. And they're just, I kind of like what they do.
Like most 17-year-olds, they're practicing going to college. So they're practicing for that full college experience.
They are.
Gina, you should make it look like a real swank hotel room out there. I mean, that's where I do my best banging.
They don't give a daggone. And then it's like they have this little walk of shame when they walk away. Like the dude just like, he's like on his last leg because, you know, they die after. And the women have to go find a place to, or the female, have to go find a place to lay those eggs. But the dude is like, did it, done. On you now, babe. And it's just interesting to watch.
They're a lot closer to humans than we think, those cicadas.
How about that?
Jeff, how about yourself?
Well, as a cisgender white male in his 60s, I am unable to comment on anything that Abby said concerning her hairstyle, whether or not I noticed it, whether or not it's nice, whether or not it's sexy. I am abstaining from that conversation because it will not end well for me. But I will say that even Twitter noticed that I'm older because I was on Twitter and under who to follow, it said that I should follow the place where I got my colonoscopy. Why would I do that?
Who wants to follow all the shit they post on there?
Exactly. There are enough asses already on Twitter.
Enough.
No, they're kicking them off. On Pornhub, they have the option, share this video to Facebook. Who does that? Who goes online, looks at a video of a 24-year-old woman fisting her 19-year-old stepson and thinks, this will top those photos of my cousin's baby's christening? To be fair, that was before I quit drinking. I cleaned up my Twitter feed recently to get rid of the social media fights and the negativity associated with them. When I checked, I discovered I had deleted over 2,000 tweets. And that shocked me because I thought that number would have been a lot higher. If I had to delete every one of my tweets that someone would have found offensive, then the only thing on my feed would be just set up my Twitter. #myfirst. Joining us tonight to discuss social media, Sarah Roche.
Hi. Hi. Thank you for having me.
So Sarah, the topic of this episode is social media. Obviously, you're pretty big on it. You use it a lot. You seem to use it for promotion and stuff.
There are pros and cons to it all. Definitely a lot of usefulness. Using hashtags to link up whole communities who otherwise wouldn't have ever come in contact with each other. Especially getting your comedy stuff out there. I really appreciate you saying that I'm big on the internet because I have like maybe 700 followers on Twitter. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm pretty big, but like that, like goofy. No, I do my best and I put my stuff out there and hope that somebody notices or comes to shows. But I think it invites people, everyone to have an opinion, which is kind of a bummer sometimes when people have gross opinions, but yeah, it outweighs. It's good.
The thing I really find discouraging about social media is that like to get stuff trending, like Twitter and Facebook, they usually just pick they pick certain topics. I believe like there's some kind of an algorithm where they go ahead and select random topics, and then people look at those topics and then go ahead and look at them and then either tweet or post on Facebook about them for likes and comments and follows. I mean, I've been, certainly guilty of doing that like at one point or another. And I think it's sort of demoralizing how, like, if you're not like a big name celebrity, if you're not a well-known politician, then you have a hard time getting publicity, promoting yourself. I mean, social media, I think, can be good for that, but at the same time, it also like hampers, independent, struggling artists, musicians, comedians, authors, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like when a celebrity joins OnlyFans. I get it. You're kind of fucking it up for the rest of the people. I don't know. I see that. It's one of those things where I think it all depends on how you use social media. Like I, a lot of times will post a joke that I'm not sure if I want to try it on stage, like at an open mic, and see if it does okay within my comedy friends. And if it does, then a lot of times I'll try it at a few open mics. So I use it for that, where I'm like, you know what, if millions of people saw this, I don't know how much I want that yet, because it's like a new kind of dumb idea probably. So I think, with you, where you're promoting a podcast and shows and stuff like that, I can definitely see what you're saying. But yeah, I think it comes back to how you use it, I guess.
And it's bizarre because you say, oh, we have to figure out how to promote yourself. And, unless you go ahead and just spam every single comedy group on Facebook, then that's well, again, okay, guilty as charged. So
I've never seen yours though. There's like 3 dudes that I see who do it, and like they're people who are my friends and I love, but I'm also like, I get it. Like, you've done this in 7 groups now. Where it's all the same people, dude. Like, you're just but no, I've never seen and I've seen your like content posted, but I've never been like, ugh, this dude posting again.
So, Sarah, actually, you mentioned people being shitty and that being sort of the downside as people's crappy opinions get to be expressed widely. But I have started re-entering the world. And now that the weather is nice outside, I'm like, oh, people are shitty in real life too. Like, I went to get food the other day to pick up food yesterday, and I'm walking back. It was like not even a mile away. And twice, one guy yelled at me, just seriously, I'm not even kidding, out of nowhere. He just yelled, remember, girl, men make the best chefs, men are the best cooks. Like, and I was like, what are you even talking about? Like, I'm not wearing like a woman chef supporting like shirt and just women, men make the best food. And then further on down in my walk, some guy just yelled at me, hey girl, watch the traffic.
Maybe
those were nice shitties.
Maybe he thought he was hungry, where he was like, give me a good meal.
Men are the best chefs, and I can't cross the street by myself. Like,
maybe he thought maybe that with that first one,
6 months.
With that first one, maybe he thought like he was being real woke, telling women to stay out of the kitchen as opposed to
maybe.
Go get your degree, girl. It's like, I did.
I'm already across the street. You saw me do it. I'm fine.
Sometimes I also, because I feel like, and maybe I'm just putting this on you, but I feel like you're pretty short, like I am. And I don't know the car demographics in your city, but I've definitely felt too short to be crossing the road with like pickup trucks that were tall enough where I was like, can you see me?
That's
Do I need
fair.
to hold
That
it?
is fair.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm part of me is like, leave this woman alone. And part of me is like, look, you looked hungry. You look short. They were like, let's
just
help.
Trying to be helpful.
It's 2021. We help women now.
That's very optimistic of you, Sarah. Thank you.
Or maybe I'm just excusing terrible people. I don't know. Hopefully not.
Despite the wildfire-like spread of memes spreading unsubstantiated claims, the Donald Trump faction of the Republican Party still likes to claim they're being bullied, as we can see from this 2019 Hannity interview, where Congressman Devin Nunes talks about suing a parody Twitter account.
Former Intel Committee Chairman Congressman Devin Nunes filed a $250 million lawsuit against Twitter in Virginia State Court, alleging the social media company negligently failed to remove defamatory and malicious tweets about the congressman and his family. Twitter is declining comment tonight.
But the case we're basically making is this was an orchestrated effort. So people were targeting me. There were anonymous accounts that were developed. And look, there's not supposed to be, these accounts aren't supposed to exist. Twitter says that they don't have accounts that do this. So, like I said, this is the first of many lawsuits that are coming, but there were several fake news accounts, whether it was regard to the Russia investigation or to me, and we have to hold all of these people accountable, because if we don't, our First Amendment rights are at stake here.
And the whole Clinton bought and paid for Russian lies, the dossier we knew before the election, it's all not true. And Steele says it himself, right?
And also why it's so important, Sean, part of the reason that I'm starting with Twitter in these lawsuits and going on to the fake news stories, it's important to know who was behind putting those fake news stories out.
Wow. All right. We're going to follow this very closely. I think there's a lot to the story, a lot more than may meet the eye on its surface. Congressman, thank you for being with us.
I like how the producers just put the cut to break music on, even while they were having their discussion. Even they're sick of the shit that Devin Nunes and Sean Hannity are talking about.
Oh, it's so painful to watch the faces.
Yeah.
But Tom, I lost track. At the end, Hannity said, we're going to follow this because there's more there to it. And there wasn't. So did he ever say that?
I just picked the moments where just Sean absolutely just bloviates.
Well, the answer is no.
Of course not.
I was just going to say, it's sort of like seeing like people who were probably definitely bullies at some point. Or I mean, they are bullies, but like even more so in the like traditional 80s like bully kind of way. They're using this platform to very unironically be like, now someone's bullying me and I don't really like it. And it's hilarious, but also like people weren't mean enough to them, I think. growing up. Is what I'm trying to say.
And hopefully people are making up for that now. I never understood, like, he's like, there's so many more lawsuits, the first of so many, and then the lawsuits never go anywhere. I think people just like saying, I'm going to sue you.
And I think that people, like, they will watch this and be like, well, if there's like a lawsuit or something, there has to be some backing, but there's not. And it gets out and nothing happens. And but that's not the story that's picked up. It's just like, oh yeah, these, fake Hillary Twitter bots were harassing some, guy who's had it pretty fucking easy in life.
These guys are also complaining about how big tech kind of runs amok and lets everything just go out of control like it's the wild, wild west. But, at the same time, it's just been revealed that I think Devin Nunes and Donald Trump were trying to get Trump's Justice Department to try to get Twitter to give up information on this user that was parodying Devin Nunes. So it's like they were complaining about something being done to them. And they wanted to go ahead and do the same in return.
Yeah. Which it's like, you're going to talk about First Amendment rights, and that's having a parody account is a First Amendment right. They're joking around. Like, I'm pretty sure the rules are like, if you state clearly that it's a parody account, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
And then if it gets shut down, then it's usually the social media website that shuts down the accounts, like what happened with Donald Trump and on his accounts that he tried to start back up again. And I think one of his lawyers from his election lawsuits. So it's not the federal government. If it was the federal government doing it, they don't realize that it would be a First Amendment violation.
Yeah, and I realize it's a private company, but it's just I guess it's ironic to me that they bring up that argument. It's very hypocritical. Everything about the whole party is like so hypocritical, and this is just another cherry on the pie, I guess.
It's not just disinformation benefiting Republican candidates that floods the internet, but a new generation of social media warriors who are now fighting back. Here's one TikTok user who inspired thousands of people to buy no-show tickets at Trump's first COVID super spreader rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Guys, Donald Trump is having a rally next week and it's free. All you have to do is give your phone number and you can get 2 tickets. So I got 2 tickets, but I totally forgot that I have to pick every individual piece of land off of my room floor and my size, so I can't make it for Friday. Oh well, I already got the tickets. And I accidentally just verified it too, so that means there's gonna be at least 2 empty spots. Guys, that's awful. You should be really careful going to do this, just in case, you can't make it. You don't want a bunch of empty seats. And another thing, guys, if you are doing it, make sure to use the right zip codes just so that they know you are in the area.
The thing I liked about that was that you had, Donald Trump and his allies sort of weaponizing social media, and to an extent, like all the disinformation, the Russian bots coming in, flooding Twitter and Facebook with paid ads, and you have they're being defeated by TikTok users who just bought up all the seats at this rally. They were expecting 100,000 people to show up, and I think the final count was like 6,200, which left the Trump campaign upset. Which actually leaves me upset. Do you know I would kill to have 6,200 people show up for a comedy show?
Or 6.
Yeah. Or 3.
Right. I think that's an example of social media for good. And I loved every bit of how social media reacted to the election. I mean, it tore him a new one in all of his cronies. And I loved it. It was happening on Twitter. It's happening on TikTok. And this all my faith in young people, and I'm raising 2 of them. I just was pride, I was just full of pride and joy. I was like, yes, they're going to take this on by storm.
Right. What a great use of social media there. She was funny. She was to the point, and she helped embarrass that son of a bitch.
Yeah. I love the commitment, like aggressive commitment to the sarcasm. Like it did not really a huge fan of that.
Oh my gosh, it's really good. Yeah, no, there are some aspects of social that are great. I mean, I could never be naked enough to get anybody to follow me on Twitter, but the other aspects of social media that are advocacy have just been amazing.
Yeah.
And not to rain on the sentiment, but you mentioned that Trump was embarrassed by the showing in the election. But I mean, if he keeps insisting that the election was stolen, the news was fake, I mean, is it really possible to embarrass anybody like that?
No, he's embarrassing himself. I don't know, or he doesn't. You're right. I mean, not to get inside his head, but I don't think his kind of personality type allows for embarrassment. It can't possibly, right? Like people like that, I think, don't get embarrassed.
I imagine like it might creep in for a millisecond, but then like immediately his brain comes up with something crazy to protect and like there kind of thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I would imagine that's
that little mousetrap where the thing like goes through all the like. I feel like every thought of embarrassment has to go through some giant like by the time it actually reaches the inside of his brain, it is morphed into something completely different. There's some cognitive dissonance filter there that just like nothing actually gets through.
His head is a Pac-Man game to me, but it doesn't ever really. And then I'll go this way, and and it just
But what she did was help put another dent in the armor. And it's slowly helped erode people's confidence in him. There was always 40% that are going to think he walks on water, but it helped turn the tide. So she deserves a position in the Democrats' headquarters.
Social media squabbles don't necessarily have to be based in political discussion. Take a listen to this clip of two Xbox Live users attempting to express their differences of opinion.
You're talking more shit in my ass right now. You think you're so hard? I'm not a kid. I'm not a kid. I don't have a job. What the fuck is your job? You suck dick, motherfucker? You like your dick faggot? You suck a big floppy dick, you fucking pussy ass motherfucker. You respect your fucking daddy, you fucking pussy. How about that? Why don't you keep it down for your mom comes in there and beats that ass again, queer boy? How about that?
Oh,
Mom's gonna stop me. You goddamn donkey. Oh no, Mommy's gonna stop me at my house. Oh.
I think everybody can relate to what I'm about to say, in that like I've listened to a lot of comics before and after shows talk about like playing video games, playing Xbox, and going on forums like this. And I have to say that fight is more entertaining than any of those conversations.
Oh yeah. It went awry. Well, from the beginning, but yes, it definitely was something. I could barely understand in the beginning, though.
They came in hot, which I thought was hilarious. They didn't build, no building.
No, also, I mean, I definitely picked up around pussy, and then right, it became clear around pussy. Yeah,
I'm like, why do men, typically of a certain age, but some older guys, why do they always go towards pussy as an insult?
And the mama, like what is up with the mama? Why do you have to bring mama into this?
This is between y'all. Why are you bringing women involved? Like what?
Right. And then when they're really done, they go for queer, because that was in there too. Then they're like pussy, mama, queer.
Yeah. Like, do y'all hate each other or like people around you? Like, what is it?
Right.
Well, that video was part of a video combined. That segment was about 20 minutes long.
Oh my God.
That was the least inflammatory part of that argument.
Thank you, Tom.
Absolutely.
Because they dropped some like ethnic and racial stuff in there as well. But
I mean, it didn't sound like they were leaving anybody out.
No.
Ironically enough, they were being very inclusive by insulting everybody.
That's the beauty of racism, is that it is an all-inclusive sort of buffet, if you will.
I'm still trying to dissect the sentence. You're talking shit in my ass.
I heard that. That was good. Right?
That was good?
That's a great sentence.
Good, bad, right? It made you stop and think, because I'm still thinking about it too.
It has nothing to do with women or gay people or anyone else. It's just, look, you're talking shit in my ass.
Talking shit in my ass. Yeah. I mean, they didn't, unless you heard it, Tom, they didn't bring up anything penile and no dicks, nothing. So impressive, maybe? I don't know. Usually there's like a measurement thing going on. Like there's when you're hot and super masculine, you got to throw that around, you know?
Do men say, like, would that be an acceptable insult if you were just like, you have a small penis? Like, would other guys be like, damn, that hurt? Is that why you have to dance around it because it's too hurtful if you go directly for the dick insult?
I think so. I mean, I guess
I think Jeff and I are just going to stay out of that one altogether.
I guess they think calling somebody a pussy, which is a super strong part of a body that takes on a lot of things in and out. Like, I don't know why somebody thinks that's an insult, right? But they do.
I really wish that some of these insults would get like more real, where one of them is just like, did you know that people who throw out racist insults didn't have much lower IQs than the general population? Shit, like, just something to really get in
just
there.
Stop it cold. But then he might be like, you're talking shit in my ass, you know?
He's like, well, yeah. Now they're agreeing on something. Look at that.
Right.
And on that note, that's our show. I want to thank Jeff Hysen, Abby Mello, Gina Brown, and Sarah Roche.
Thank you.
But before we go, my final thought. My neighbor's home was raided by the police the other day. I suspect the big tip-off was the fact that he still has his Trump 2020 flag flying outside and that he has been holed up inside since the events of January 6th. Little did all of us in the neighborhood realize that his legal downfall had nothing to do with his visiting the Capitol on January 6th, but because he learned the hard way that Febreze doesn't cover up the smell of dead bodies in his basement. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Hysen, Abby Mello, and Gina Brown, and guest Sarah Roche. Theme music by Jeroen Vandenhuren. Executive producer Tom Myers. Executive producer for ipmNation, Matt Connarton. For more information, visit tommyers.us.